Gracious God, may the words you have given me to speak this morning find a home in each of our hearts. I am so grateful to have been invited to join you today. Old friends, many of you are old friends from my time here for a few years. Those who have not yet met me, I just will remind you that I'm a classmate of Della's in seminary and love to come up here because there's nothing better after Sunday morning than Jerry's blueberry pancakes. So it's a bribe, one I'm very welcome to accept. January marks the start of my second year in Colorado, where I repaired to a new life. From time to time, new friends ask, what do you miss most by leaving the East Coast? Top of the list, of course, are my oldest two children who remain in the East. I miss old friends and all the familiar turns in the road of a lifetime. Colorado has its own beauty, but I lived on or near the sea since childhood. I shall never shake the yearning for the ocean. You Rhode Islanders, I should say Rhode Islanders, know what I mean. Water and the livelihood of the sea surrounds us here in Newport. It's always beautiful. Some days the face of the Narragansett Bay turns dark, threatening with wind and angry whitecaps. The sea is the energy of life itself. It is a life force that is never far from Jesus on his travels through Galilee. Today, this morning, Jesus begins his ministry in Galilee, the heart of Israel. His coming is foretold by the Baptist, who bursts upon us as a force out of the wilderness. Jesus is baptized in the waters of the Jordan. In that moment, the Spirit descends upon him like a dove and proclaims Jesus as the Son of God. Now, filled with the Holy Spirit, the divine mission may begin. There are good reasons for Jesus to withdraw from his home in Nazareth to Galilee. It's no longer safe for him to remain in Nazareth. Herod Antipas jealously interprets the prophecy of a Messiah as a political threat. The Baptist is arrested for sedition by Antipas. So Matthew's narrative relocates Jesus to relative safety in Galilee, fulfilling the prophecy we have just heard from Isaiah, who declares, in the latter time he will make glorious the way of the sea, the land beyond the Jordan, Galilee of the nations. The people who walked in darkness have seen a great light, and on them a light has shined. And so it is from his own town, Capernaum, a fishing village on the north shore of the Sea of Galilee, that the dawning of the new light shall go forth. Capernaum sits astride the main shoreline road, named the Way of the Sea, that leads from Damascus south to Egypt. Like Interstate 95 from Maine to Miami, it's an important travel artery along which news travels fast. Capernaum is the center of a very productive fishing economy. It's the perfect place to launch a ministry from fishing. As Jesus walks alongside the Sea of Galilee, we can almost smell the sea breeze, the salty aroma of sea creatures and dried seaweed. He calls out to the brothers, Simon and Andrew, as they cast their nets. He calls to the brothers James and John, sons of Zebedee, follow me. Come and fish for people. Turn from the dead, your fish, to the living. In their supreme demonstration of faith, the four immediately relinquish their former lives, their families, and their livelihood. The four brothers will travel the path of discipleship towards a destination they know not where. Well, you and I have read ahead. We know the end of the story. These four will travel the road that leads to Jerusalem and the cross. James will become the first apostolic martyr, beheaded by Herod Agrippa. Simon Peter and Andrew follow to their own execution soon after. Of the 12 disciples, only John is thought to have lived along full to a natural death. The acclaimed German theologian Dietrich Bonhoeffer describes their act of faith. Discipleship is not an offer one makes to Christ. It is the call which creates the situation. It's costly because it costs a person their life. It is grace because it gives one the true life. God calls us when we least expect. Perhaps you felt a gentle tug and only years later said, yeah, that's the moment. That's the time when it came to me. Or God's call may be dramatic, as St. Paul to us on the road to Damascus. The Benedictine monk, Jean Leclerc, describes the call to faith in these words: "The love of the world lulls us, but as if by a thunderclap, the attention of the soul is called to God." Jesus will go forward, drawing the faithful to him, casting his own net. On his return to Capernaum, he's approached by a centurion, a Gentile. Instinctively acknowledging the authority of Christ, the centurion addresses Jesus as Lord and implores him to heal his paralyzed servant. With only a word, Jesus immediately restores the servant to full health. And then he turns and announces to his followers, "I have not found anyone in Israel with faith like this." On their journey from Capernaum then, across a stormy Sea of Galilee shortly afterwards, Jesus reveals the power of faith to his terrified disciples. The disciples all experienced boatmen, you recall, fear for their lives during a tempest at sea. Waking from a sound sleep, Jesus immediately calms the raging wind and sea, to the amazement of his companions. As they then disembark on the foreshore, Jesus then expels the demons from the soul of a tortured man. Drawn to Jesus as though a fish in the net, the man discovers his faith and goes forward as a disciple, proclaiming the good news of Jesus to the Gentiles. Miracles, yes, but Jesus is truly the big fisherman. Through such miracles, he casts his own net towards the faithful. In Matthew's gospel, the sea is the source from which the faithful are netted. Jerry Wells and I share a mutual love of fishing. One day, Jerry presented me with a book on the fishing life called The Optimist, entitled The Optimist. These pages reveal that fishing requires skill and experience, but fishing is an act of faith. True, casting on a beautiful stream out of God's creation is its own reward, but the fish must complete the loop. This means that success requires something beyond our control. That's why the angler must, at some level, be an optimist. Every angler has their faith tested, again and again, cast after cast. Yet the true angler returns to the stream because they believe. That belief, the faith in completing the loop, lives in the heart of all disciples. That faith carries them on to their destiny as they cast their nets on the journey of discipleship. And always, in the shadows, just behind us, perhaps under the trees, stands Jesus, the ultimate optimist. Thanks be to God.